Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now
We have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Monday, September 15, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm here in Rhode Island for the Jeffrey Osborne Celebrity Golf Classic. Folks, in politics, the right continues to attack the left after the murder of Charlie Kirk. Vice President J.D. Vance sits in on his podcast and literally lies about what Kirk had to say about black women, black preachers across the country. They also speak their truth about what they see in this climate. We'll talk to former Republican MAGA Congressman Joe Walsh, who is a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk, who has something to say about what the right is really trying to do right now in this country. Also, Republicans in Missouri gerrymander a map. Guess what? They screwed up and got it wrong and actually violated the state constitution. We'll talk to a state rep about that as well. Lots to unpack. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, over the weekend, we have seen a whole lot of drama, lots of replaying or reimagining various things that Charlie Kirk said. Of course, he is the right-wing provocateur, co-founder of Turning Point USA, who was gunned down while speaking in Utah late last week. And there were lots of things happening over the weekend, and just it was amazing to actually watch these things unfold. You had many people on the right who are defending everything they had to say, saying, oh, this was a Christ-like man, never said anything hateful or bigoted against anybody. Here's the U.S. Senator from Oklahoma saying that very thing on CNN.
Senator, I want to start with you. You knew Charlie Kirk very well. You considered him a good friend.
Charlie was made such an impact in such a short period of time. I mean, you think about this guy. He entered somewhat of the limelight just short time ago, 12 years ago. And he built this following that is just almost unheard of. And at 31, his voice has already been silenced because someone didn't agree with his political views. Unfortunately, there was a commentary on MSNBC that came out last night that said, hateful thoughts bring hateful words, turns into hateful actions. And I'm just saying, what I'm saying that...
And he apologized.
He did apologize, but what I'm trying to make a point is Charlie didn't ever say anything hateful. He would debate with you, but he would debate with you on either historical constitutional facts or on his biblical beliefs, but he didn't belittle anybody. He provided an opportunity for those with opposing views to have an opportunity to have a voice.
Okay, so Mark Wayne Mullin said he did not belittle anybody and didn't say any hateful things. Really? Utah Governor Spencer Cox, he said something similar. Listen to this.
I'm not saying we have to just sing Kumbaya and hold hands. What I'm saying is we actually should disagree. I think Charlie represented that better than anyone. Charlie said some very inflammatory things, and in some corners of the web, that's all people have heard. But he also said some other things about forgiveness. He said some amazing things about when things get dark, putting down our phones, reading scripture, going to church, talking to our neighbors. He said that we have to engage, and that's what I appreciate most about Charlie Kirk. Said if we don't keep talking, that's when the violence starts. Look, there are conflict entrepreneurs out there who benefit from radicalizing us, and I'm not one of those. I don't know that that's particularly helpful, but he is right at this. We need to find out how this happened, and we need to stop it from happening.
Wow. Really, it's a lot more we're going to play for you, including what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say today. But right now, I want to bring up Joe Walsh, former Republican congressman from Illinois, and he was someone who was very much a part of the MAGA wing of the GOP. He knew Charlie Kirk as well. Joe, glad to have you here. I saw a lot of your commentary over the weekend. And Joe, the revisionist history is stunning. You knew a lot of the stuff that he said. You've heard it. For Mullen, for Cox, and for so many others, to say Charlie Kirk never belittled anybody, Charlie Kirk didn't use hateful rhetoric, he didn't use any racist rhetoric. Joe, we literally have video. We literally have audio. And then I was reading a couple of Instagram accounts where they said, oh, you didn't hear the full stuff, and it was all taken out of context. Really?
Hey, look, Roland, good to be with you. I knew Charlie well. Let's be clear, and I wish he were alive, right? Murder's horrible. Political violence is horrible. Charlie was a Christian nationalist. He was a white Christian nationalist. Of course he was divisive. Of course he was provocative. Look, I met him when he was 16. I was his political mentor way back then. But he signed on to MAGA. He got radicalized by MAGA, and he was one of the best, most effective, divisive MAGA voices. That's why he was so successful, Roland.
And that's the thing, to me, that's crazy. We have eyes, we have ears, we understand, what went on here. And the reality is, that's why his following was what it was. And I heard the comments that he made about Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Michelle Obama and Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and Congresswoman Maxine Waters and so many others, talking about lacking the brain, the brain processing power. I know what he talked about when he talked about, frankly, great replacement theory and really complaining about immigration and really to keep this nation, frankly, a white country. We know what was said, and you're right. First of all, there's no justification for murder. There's no excuse for it. But what you have is this creation right now of martyrdom. That, oh, how dare anyone say any of these things, and how dare you speak that? And here's what just amazes me: the very people who say he was a free speech champion now don't want others to have free speech in criticizing what he and others have had to say.
Roland, this is scary. And you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh, my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalize him? I mean, it really is showing folks of the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh, my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying if you are Black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and Black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about Black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful, why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all these people talk about, oh, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly are with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure that they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, oh, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman. And if the governor had asked him, he would, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry. He's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, oh, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Flies body on Air Force 2. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinal Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Vance said it in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. Oh, I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable. Now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show. Thank you very much for your insight.
Thanks, man.
Folks, going to a break. We come back. Black preachers respond from the pulpit. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network, what's happening? It's your man, Kim. And look, my new single, Rock With Me, is on fire. We debuted as the #1 most added and greatest gainer at R&B radio. So look, I want you to go check it out at musicbykim.com. Listen to it, download it, tell me what you think about it. Also, make sure you sign up to be a part of my community so we can stay connected. At Music by Kim on all social media platforms. Thank you for rocking with me. And keep love on the one.
'Cause I want you to rock with me. We live in a strange world till the darkness falls forever. Baby, let's be the dawn. When it feels like it's taking me over, you're making me stronger, my sweet love.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like I'm going all over I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people and they be like, so what you been doing? Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder.
Right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Black preachers from across the country certainly were not holding back from the pulpit on Sunday. Here's a few of what some of them had to say. We're going to start with Pastor Jamal Bryant, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta.
I'm concerned about all of these Negro preachers who've been, in fact, talking about that this man that was killed was the answer to Christ in the earth. Y'all ain't saying nothing. They having moments of silence in black churches all over the country over a man that was racist and a white supremacist. How dare you compare him to Martin Luther King? The only thing that Charlie Chris and Martin Luther King got in common is both of them was killed by a white man. After that, they got nothing else in common.
In the name of Jesus, I pray that you'll perform a miracle in this country. It does not necessitate turning water into wine. We're asking you that you will shift gun control in this country. I pray that our seniors will feel safe. I want our parents to feel safe sending their kids to school and not be alarmed, fearing that there will be a school shooting like it was in Colorado on the exact same day. I pray, dear Lord, that there will be a peace that passes all understanding. I pray that you will disarm the adversary. Now, God, I pray that you will strengthen us so that we can fight in the spirit realm, that we'll be able to pull down every stronghold, that we'll be able to lean on you for areas that we do not understand. Thank you that this shift, this revival will take place not by might, not by power, but only by your spirit. And God, we're saying to you today publicly, you can use us as healing virtue for this land. Thank you, dear Lord, because you already gave us the remedy. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, you'll hear from heaven. God, heal America today.
Folks, Reverend Dr. Marcus Cosby, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in Houston.
Last week in Denver was the 47th school shooting this year. And we got to be careful and we don't lose our song and get so comfortable with the hell battle that's raging in our streets. We still got to be conscious that there's some things happening in this world that are trying to rob us of our song. I really despise the way that Kirk was killed last week. I despise the way he was killed. Shouldn't have gone down like that. But political violence ain't nothing new to this nation. Now, let's be clear. Let's be clear. They killed our ancestors over political violence. That was political violence right there. Knees on necks, that's political violence right there. Shooting you down for having some Skittles and a drink, that's political violence right there. Let's be clear, this ain't new. This ain't new. And I want them to be just as concerned about Kirk, and be just as concerned about Trayvon as they were about Kirk, and just as concerned about my brother that just got shot last night as they were about the brother that got shot a couple days ago. And while I'm on that, can I go a little farther? You and I need to be very careful. All of us need to be careful of the public positions that we take. Be very careful. Mr. Kirk said for years that sometimes there in schools there has to be some live sacrifice to protect the Second Amendment. I'm not making it up. Some lives have to be taken to protect the Second Amendment. Got to be careful of the positions you take, because they might just come back and take you. I am not applauding his death. That boy should not have died. His children got to be raised without a father. His wife has to deal with living without her husband. It should not have gone down like that. But the Bible says if you live by the sword, be careful of your public positions, because the Bible says you will reap what you sow.
Folks, Pastor Rudy McKissick also spoke. He's a senior pastor of the Bethel Church in Jacksonville, Florida.
The news of Charlie Kirk's murder has shaken this nation. And I must say from the outset, the act itself was despicable. No one deserves to be gunned down. Violence is never the answer, and the one who pulled the trigger must be held accountable. We must also keep Charlie Kirk's wife and children lifted in our prayers, because no matter our disagreements with him, they are now living with a hole in their home and a grief in their hearts that only God can heal. But while we grieve, we must also be honest. You should be able to walk in sympathy over the loss of a life without having to sanitize the reality of that life. Kirk's rhetoric was often divisive, inflaming race, sowing fear, and fueling hostility. And now in the wake of his death, what do we see? Death threats against churches, threats against HBCUs. The Department of Education, on the day after this senseless murder, cut $350 million in grant monies to HBCUs. Threats against the very places that have always been sanctuaries for black advancement, black faith, and black freedom. If America cannot protect her classrooms and her sanctuaries, then what does that say about the soul of this nation? Even in our city, where a city council seeks to make an example of a young man potentially cutting short his future aspirations, all in an effort to further their own careers and kiss the ring of a governor. These are hate-filled times. However, this is not just about one shooting. This is about the climate we live in, the uncivil discourse that has been normalized. Our politics are poisoned. Our government is gridlocked, and our so-called leaders have refused to turn down the heat of hate in their language. When leaders speak with venom, the people listen with violence. When leaders play with fire, it is the vulnerable who get burned. And yet, in moments like this, the church must rise. Somebody ought to say amen just to that point. The church must rise. The church must rise. We cannot echo hate. We cannot mirror the vitriol. We must be the example of another way. We must govern our tongues with grace and govern our lives with love. And at the same time, we must still be about liberation. We cannot let threats silence us. We cannot let the climate marginalize us. Our ancestors built faith and freedom in the face of slavery and segregation. Surely, we can stand for liberation in the face of tweets and tirades. So today, as your bishop, I call on us to pray for the Kirk family. Let us grieve the tragedy, but let us also be clear-eyed about the times we are living in. The racism that has been unleashed, the division that has been amplified, the threats that have been aimed at our institutions, these are all reminders that the Church of the Living God has work to do. We are called to be salt and light. We are called to speak truth with courage, but also with civility. We are called to fight for liberation, not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. Church, let us not be silent. Let us not be bitter. Let us not be hateful. Let us not be marginalized. Let us be who God called us to be. The living, breathing, liberating example of what love and justice looks like in a nation that's on fire.
Folks, Pastor Howard John Wesley, Alfred Street Baptist Church in Alexandria, Virginia, man, he really brought it home. And this clip here has gone viral.
I am overwhelmed daily with the lies and the false narrative of white supremacy that caters to white guilt and forces me to prove my black excellence every day of my life. Siobhan, I'm overwhelmed listening to the voices of those who think they have the singular right to define and defend what America is and determine who's allowed in this land that was built by my forefathers and my foremothers. I am overwhelmed with the gun violence and mass shootings and threats against our HBCUs that ain't had nothing to do with anything that went down this past week. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed to see that this bill allocates $75 billion to the policing and the detention of undocumented persons while cutting Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, food assistance programs, and 300,000 black women have lost their jobs under this administration. I am overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with ICE raids, Klan rallies, corporations backing off of DEI, Supreme Court rulings, and presidential executive orders. I'm overwhelmed with folk who call themselves Christian because they invoke the name of Jesus and quote Bible from the Old Testament, but never live like Jesus, never love like Jesus, never talk like Jesus, never put their arms around folk like Jesus, never have any fruit of the Spirit, never try to live out the Sermon on the Mount. I am overwhelmed. And I don't celebrate anyone's murder. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be murdered. But I'm overwhelmed to see the nation's flag fly at half-staff for a man who was a proud racist and spent his entire life sowing seeds of division and hatred into this land. And then these hypocrites with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't say anything about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were gunned down in their living room. Tell me that I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who never showed compassion or respect for my life. Y'all, there's nowhere in Bible we are told to honor evil. And I know I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but how you died does not redeem how you lived. Your death does not make you a hero. It does not make you one who should be honored. It does not make you one who should be respected. I can be sorry about your death, but not celebrate your life. You did not live. And I'm overwhelmed. It's tiring being black in America. It's exhausting defending your existence everywhere you go. It's an assault on my identity to keep seeing this nonsense in our nation, and I am overwhelmed.
Folks, let's go to our panel. We got a whole lot we need to unpack. I'm Congo Debinga Senior, professorial lecturer, International School of Service, American University out of D.C. Renita Shannon, former Georgia State Representative out of Georgia, out of Atlanta, A. Scott Bolton, who's an attorney out of Washington, D.C., former leader of National Bar Association, PAC as well. Glad to have all three of y'all here. Scott, I'll start with you. Hale, no question. Just where do you want to go? You got what Joe Walsh had to say. He said they want a race war. This is about white Christian nationalism. You heard the black preacher's response. We'll do this here after we do this here. We're gonna go to break. We're gonna play what Bishop William Barber had to say. Y'all get that ready. But Scott, go ahead. Take it away.
Well, as I listened to Joe Walsh, a former MAGA person, he got some redeeming to do himself. But when I listened to the preachers, and I'm thinking about the first hour of your show, I kept thinking about how do we protect ourselves? How do we protect ourselves, not just during this period of time, but how we succeed, not just survive MAGA or Trumpism. We can debate what happens after Trump, but this is a real movement that believes political violence is real, and they drive that negative narrative for all the reasons the preacher said, all the reasons that your guests have said. And so my fraternity brother said he's overwhelmed. We're all overwhelmed and stressed out about being black, but I really want to put some time and thought together collectively about where we go from here and how we succeed. how we survive now and how we succeed going forward. And that's going to take all of us to have that dialogue.
Well, Renita, look, I wrote the book White Fear, but I have been talking about this in 2009. I said in 2009, this is about to be a minimum 50-year war. Everything was there. And too many folks in mainstream white media didn't want to hear it. I was on CNN, kept talking about it, and folks were just like, okay, whatever. And then, we're going to play a little bit later. You got white nationalist Megyn Kelly sitting here whining, complaining, trying to blame Obama, saying all this stuff started with Obama, which is BS. Well, no, I'm sorry. It didn't start with Obama, but it got a heightened with Obama. But she wants to blame it on Obama as opposed to the white folks who are angry that a black person was elected president.
Absolutely. And this started long before 50 years ago. This started actually after the Civil War and black folks were freed. Listen, the trick of white supremacy is to have you feeling bad for white supremacists. I don't give a damn about Charlie Kirk. Because the reality is the values that Charlie Kirk espoused were values that had white folks sleeping every night good in this country with black folks enslaved. These are the same values that had white folks taking their children to watch lynchings on Sunday after church as a form of entertainment. These are the same values that had white folks using black babies as alligator bait. So nobody on the right is going to lecture me about how I should feel bad or what I should be feeling about a man who was a committed white supremacist. And Roland, you point out a very good point. The media is working overtime to sanitize and to soften his reputation and the things that he said and just chalk him up to some, character sort of person who just liked to debate and free speech person. And really all they are doing is just trying to flatten white supremacist logic, which is what he was espousing every day. So no, I don't give a damn about Charlie Kirk or his mama.
Well, here's the whole deal, Ome Congo. No one wants to see someone murdered. No one wants to see it done in front of a bunch of folks being live streamed. No one wants a wife to be widowed and 2 children not to have a father. Now, if somebody wants to reflect on his life, that's their business. If somebody doesn't want to do that, that's their business as well. Everybody has the free will to do so. But for folks on the right to say, you can't say anything, you can't criticize what he said and what he did, we're going to go after jobs. They have literally established a database of Ome Congo on perusing social media and going through every social media platforms looking for critical comments about Charlie Kirk after he was shot and killed and saying they're going to hunt those folks down, call their jobs, get them kicked, get them fired, get them kicked out of school, have all sort of repercussions. J.D. Vance literally gave them permission to do it as well, but they claim they love free speech and they don't like cancel culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Their philosophy is basically freedom of speech for thee, but not for me. And even adding to what you said just now, Stephen Miller talking about, he's like, I don't care what it takes, whether it's RICO, we're going to figure out something under Trump to take your money, take your liberty, take everything that you have, because we're going to shut you down. And one of the challenges I have, Roland, just like you just did with Joe, like how you instantly played Charlie Kirk's, actual words. The fact that these media outlets are, and kind of going off Renita's point as well, are just letting these guys get away with what they're saying. And not only are they being silent, not only are they not challenging them, but sometimes you could hear, even with Dana Bash in that instance, you could hear them say, or, just kind of agreeing with them. And that's part of the problem as well. They played Trump's thing from Fox and Friends when he was like, oh, I don't care about bringing people together. They played that for Spencer Cox. And he said, what do you think about that, Cox? Well, Trump's angry. Then they played Steve Bannon and what he said. Well, Steve Bannon's angry. So what? So you're just going to excuse that? The way that they're giving these guys a pass, the way that nobody's bringing up the fact that Spencer Cox made a racist statements about how he thought hoped it was somebody from another town or from another country, maybe a quote unquote illegal alien. The way that the media is giving them a pass, they are helping boost Charlie Kirk as well as give this MAGA movement a reason to continue the war that you and Walsh started with this night. And that's why what we're doing here is so important, because we have to correct the record, just like those pastors are correcting the record as well, because these guys, they do want war. They don't believe in free speech, and they never have, and they never will. But the way that these journalists don't hold them accountable is one of the reasons this continues to fester in the way that it does. And they need to be called out too.
Absolutely. We're going to go to break, and we're going to, of course, talk about Brian Kilmeade, who literally said on Fox News that the homeless should be murdered. I thought they were pro-life. He apologized, but it was weak as hell. Megyn Kelly did her latest white woman rant. But coming up next, we're going to talk about what Republicans in Missouri did by gerrymandering, this racist gerrymander of the lines, how they likely broke the state constitution. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Brina Funk fan club. Your dollars are critically important for the work that we do. So please support us in our effort to raise $1 million by the end of the year. Use the Stripe QR code for Cash App. You see it right here. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, checks and money orders make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Back in a moment.
Dr. Greg Carr, and coming up on The Next Black Table, we're speaking with Dr. Lucius T. Outlaw Jr., master teacher and philosopher. He takes us on his journey to discover and celebrate Black philosophy.
From my undergraduate years at Fisk all the way through my PhD, I was never in a philosophy class where I had a professor who was a person of African descent, nor assigned a text written by a person of African descent, ever.
How he pushed back at those who said there was no such thing, and got us all thinking about what it means to be Black. That's on The Next Black Table, exclusively on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Marissa Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC.
Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back. We told you last week Republicans in Missouri redrew the lines, destroying the congressional district of Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, one of two African Americans representing Missouri. The other is Wesley Bell in St. Louis. Well, guess what? They may have seriously screwed up. They were in such a haste to redraw the lines that they made some critical mistakes, including breaking the state constitution. Joining us right now to talk about this, y'all, it really is unbelievable. When you think about what they've done, it's crazy, is Mark Sharp. He is a Missouri State Representative. Mark, glad to have you here. So tell people what they did. It's really crazy because y'all have a state constitution that says when lines can be redrawn, correct?
Absolutely, Roland. And they have messed up in three ways. It's really quite amazing how they actually put themselves in this position. To rush a bill this fast, this hastily through the legislature has presented some real issues that I think they're going to experience in the court.
And not only that, they screwed it up even more so. Aren't places represented by two members of Congress?
Yes. So there's the three ways they have royally screwed themselves on this issue. Roland, is the first one is they have put one of the KC precincts that is in North Kansas City, that would be between the 5th and 4th district. They've pushed this through so fast that KC precinct was drawn into 2 congressional districts in the 4th and the 5th. That is the biggest critical error. And to me, that means that should be game over once this gets to the courts. There's no way that a map should be, or a precinct should be in 2 congressional districts, obviously. So that should be the first reason that should kill the bill. This was put through so fast. I served as the ranking minority member on the special committee that heard House Bill 1, which was the congressional redistricting bill. It was just such a shameful act. No nonpartisan and partisan staff didn't have the demographic data that any respectable body would need to pass any congressional map or even smaller legislative map. The second reason they've messed up is that the Missouri General Assembly approved a map back in 2022 after our last census. You know, the Missouri Constitution states very clearly maps are to be redrawn after the census. And that was 3 years ago. And we've had several elections, congressional elections since then. So that's the worst part of it all. But the main thing is, also one of the main things is it has the worst compactness percentage of all the congressional districts in Missouri. So they have taken the historic 5th congressional district that our Congressman Emanuel Cleaver has represented very strongly for the last two decades. They're taking that and trying to make it even less compact, taking it from Kansas City, stretching it out all the way east across Missouri, nearly to Jefferson City, where the state capital is. And they want to talk about how compact the district is when it's actually the least compact of all.
Well, we've actually seen the Supreme Court at least rule on this. And so the issue of packing and cracking, again, the Supreme Court allows for political gerrymandering, but they have ruled previously against racial gerrymandering.
Right. And again, this map that really is the President Trump-sponsored, Governor Kehoe-sponsored map uses those same lines that we've been using for decades in Kansas City that are separating communities like Troost Avenue and Holmes, for those that are familiar with the Kansas City area, and using 71 Highway as a divider for our communities in Kansas City. So it's one of the most obvious racial gerrymandering attempts that we've seen in a very, very long time. Even the map that we voted on back in 2022 didn't go this far.
Well, keep up the fight there, and it's going to be a legal battle, and that's what it all boils down to. Representative Sharp, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we have heard some crazy, nonsensical, unbelievable, shameful, despicable stuff come out of folks on Fox News. What took place last week out of the mouth of Brian Kilmeade was unbelievable. And Ainsley Earnhardt, and Lawrence B. Jones sat there, said nothing when Brian Kilmeade said this about how we should treat homeless people in America.
Put them in a mental institution, put them in a jail, and you guys figure it out. But people having to duck and dive on the trains and the buses, walking through the street, this is one case, but this is happening all across the country, and it's not a money issue. They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people.
So you've probably already seen that clip as it's gone viral on multiple social media platforms. Some folks have asked about the context.
All right, folks. Now, after a lot of criticism about this, Kilmeade yesterday gives this weak-ass apology.
Empathy and compassion. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion.
Did y'all hear the end of that? Did y'all hear how he ended that? All right, play it again. Did we also include Lawrence B. Jones? So, hey, Brian, I'll see you tomorrow in the morning. Play it again.
In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion.
So he tossed back to Lawrence Jones. I'll see you tomorrow. Renita, that was just shameful. Should have been fired. Involuntary, just kill them? He wasn't referring to a specific case. He was saying kill all homeless people in America. Wow, way to go, pro-life Fox News.
Well, not only that, and that's why I say I will not be lectured about how I felt about Charlie Kirk and my comments about Charlie Kirk by the right, because these people are the true people who are very much interested in violence is always the answer. We can always say that, violence is not the answer, but for them, it's always the answer. And he demonstrated that by saying that. Brian should be fired. There's a petition going around to get him fired. I hope that it succeeds, because think about what he's saying. He's basically saying that whether or not you should be allowed to live, it should be determined on what is a temporary status. People who are unsheltered become unsheltered. They haven't been unsheltered their entire life. So you're telling me that when they had shelter at some point in their life, they were worthy of being able to live. But the moment they become unsheltered, now they need the death penalty from the state. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. Not to mention that this country used to have better supports for people who needed mental health treatment, and also folks who are unsheltered, in the way of there were more mental health hospitals that existed. And it was the Republicans over the last decades who defunded those services. Those are the services now and the types of resources now that they just call socialism. And Trump is doing everything that he can to continue to cut services. So what do you expect?
Congo?
Well, kind of going off what I said in the last segment, his colleagues, they just sit there and they're like, yeah, no challenge, no pushback. This is what happens. And you go back to what Jesse Waters was saying last week. This is what happens when you give this so-called news network the ability for people to just run wild and say whatever they want to say. And there's very little repercussions in any way, shape, or form. Like you said, he just said, back to you, Lawrence. And he was like, all right, see you tomorrow. They're callous and they're hateful. And the language that comes from them, I mean, this is Hitler-esque language. I mean, he was talking about going after the undesirables. That's what homeless people are in many of their minds. And at what point do these guys have to start taking real accountability for their actions without having a multi-million-dollar lawsuit? If they think that this is done just because he gave that fake apology, I'm glad the online petitions are circulating. And I'm hoping that more pressure comes, because this is the same type of mindset that leads to homeless people being attacked on the street because they feel like it's justified, undocumented folks being attacked on the street, and anybody who quote unquote looks undocumented. Fox is a propaganda network, and this is part of their propaganda machine. I'm glad Kilmeade got called out on it. There's a lot he should have already been called out on, but I hope that there are greater consequences than just this apology, because this is unacceptable.
Scott.
This is outrageous and deserves even more analysis. First of all, we keep trying to make out like these are human beings or they have human thoughts. It is inhumane to say what Kilmeade said and what the rest of the Fox hosts said. They don't see people of color or poor people or homeless as human beings. Because if you saw them as human beings, you would never say, I should lock you up and incarcerate you because of your socioeconomic status. But they really believe that. And then when Brian Kilmeade says, kill them, lethal injection and kill them, my goodness, you want to kill another human being because they're homeless or they won't accept help? My God, what have we come to? Now, look at the apology, Roland. What you were really trying to get at, I think, was that he didn't apologize for saying to kill him by lethal injection. He apologized for lacking empathy or for saying that. He didn't say he didn't believe that to be the case. He still believes that. He just shouldn't have said it, and he should have been more empathetic and come up with something else to say. But in his heart of hearts, he still believes that. That's why he should lose his job. That's why he shouldn't be spouting off, because you know what? That crazy MAGA person who's mentally ill, who's watching Fox News, they're out there. They're going to go and start jumping on and killing homeless people or mandating that they be locked up because they're not religious, right, Christian conservatives who make $100,000 a year. That's really what's outrageous about that clip right there. Really outrageous. And nobody's correcting them. Nobody.
Well, first of all, Fox News won't do anything. They allow heinous stuff all the time. That's what Suzanne Scott, she's the CEO, does. That's what Rupert Murdoch does, his son Lachlan, who run and own it as well. So they don't care. But I guarantee you, if somebody on CNN or MSNBC had said that, they would have segment after segment after segment degrading them, calling on leadership to do that. And that's what the right does. They do it all the time. Brian Kilmeade is shameful and despicable. And let me also add, so is airhead Ainsley Earnhardt and airhead Lawrence B. Jones, who sat there and who said nothing, who allowed that conversation to continue. They did not admonish him right there, but they love talking about life and pro-life. They don't care about folk in the womb. They don't care about folk when they don't care. They are anti-abortion people. They're not pro-life. For you to sit here and say, kill them, involuntary injections, that is murder. That is murder. And shame on Brian Kilmeade, and shame on Suzanne Scott, the CEO of Fox News, and shame on that entire network. But then again, when you pay $787.5 million for lying about the 2020 election because you wanted to kiss Trump's ass, this should be expected. I'm going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to show an absolutely racist, ignorant, and stupid comment by Megyn Kelly, which shows exactly the kind of person that she is. A shameful, despicable, racist white woman. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
I have name recognition, but I tour more than any rapper. And it's a lot of overseas stuff. And it's like I'm going all over I've been to 80 countries in my lifetime. And sometimes I'll do interviews with people and they be like, so what you been doing? Like, what you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just came back from Belgium and Brazil and South Africa. What you been doing?
Right.
Week on the other side of change.
Hurricane Katrina, 20 years later. Cannot believe that it's been more than 20 years since we saw Black people and Black communities across New Orleans and the South being failed by our government. But it's a harrowing lesson. We're going to unpack how race and class intersect in ways and how we need to talk about this government doing more for our communities. Again, you're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking all things entrepreneurship. Whether you want to jump right in, take a leap of faith, or you've just been thinking about it for a while, we're having a one-on-one candid conversation with Dr. Tierney, our level up coach and YouTuber of the amazing Hey Sugar. So let's talk about entrepreneurship.
Before you jump out here, know that it is some work that goes into it. And not necessarily the work in the business itself, but some inner work.
That's this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
I'm Dr. Greg Carr, and coming up on The Next Black Table, we're speaking with Dr. Lucius T. Outlaw Jr., master teacher and philosopher. He takes us on his journey to discover and celebrate Black philosophy.
From my undergraduate years at Fisk all the way through my PhD, I was never in a philosophy class where I had a professor who was a person of African descent, nor a sign of text written by a person of African descent, ever.
How he pushed back at those who said there was no such thing and got us all thinking about what it means to be Black. That's on The Next Black Table, exclusively on the Black Star Network.
This is Reggie Rock Byford. You're watching
Roland Martin unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
We all know that President Barack Obama, his mere presence, his skin color, drove a lot of people in this country crazy. My book, White Fear, is literally based on a poll that was taken when the question was asked around the inauguration, are you optimistic about the future of America for your children? Black people, Latinos, Asian American, majority said yes. White America was the only one, majority that did not say that. And what did we see? We saw the rise of the Tea Party. We saw the attacks. We saw Glenn Beck. Obama hates white people. You saw all of that. You saw the racial hatred rise. So over the weekend, I saw this clip of Megyn Kelly. You know, the one who said Santa was white and the one who had no issue with blackface around Halloween? This is literally what this trifling, despicable, shameful bigot had to say.
We don't feel like ourselves. We haven't felt like ourselves in a while. And I'm sorry to get political, but I'm just going to be honest. We haven't felt like ourselves since Barack Obama. I just think he was such a slick snake. You know, he was this affable guy who was like wearing good suits and looked the part and sounded the part and dressed the part, but was so divisive in his messaging. The left, they look at you like when you say this, they don't know what you're talking about. It's like, because you don't pay attention to the other half of the country. You only pay attention to your absurd news sources, which spin and spin and spin to protect Democrats, especially if they're named Obama. He's the one who started to inject race where no one had been doing it. He's the one who started to use his pen and the phone to shove things down our throat that we didn't want. He's the one who shoved through an entitlement on our health care and our personal doctor visits that he promised he wouldn't mess with, and then he did, really hurting people, causing massive anger and open lies. He never missed an opportunity to twist the knife on the racial issue. He would do it subtly and in his own way, but it was very clear what he was doing. For the first time, we had a president who weighed in on legal cases before they'd played out. We never did that. That was a taboo that had never been crossed before him. And Donald Trump was the reason Barack Obama, reverse that. Barack Obama was the reason Donald Trump came about, that he was born as a political figure. They say Trump's divisive. He was the antidote. He was the answer to the divisiveness of Barack Obama. And we just haven't felt like ourselves for years now.
Oh, we haven't felt like ourselves for years. Why couldn't we just continue having another white president? Why did we as America, why did we have to screw it up? Why did we mess it all up by electing this black man? It was his fault. It was Obama who brought divisiveness, who injected race. Really? Do you really want to talk about presidents injecting race, Megyn? Do we want to talk about Reagan making up, literally making up this welfare queen story? Do we want to talk about Reagan refusing to, well, not refusing, but refusing to sign a bill slamming the racist apartheid regime in South Africa and says, I will not sign it. And he got overwritten. Do we really want to talk about Reagan, the attack on affirmative action? Do we really want to talk about President George H.W. Bush and Willie Horton? Do we really want to talk about Lee Atwater, and who said that we don't have to use the N-word, there are other words that we can say? Y'all, there's actually audio of this. Do we want to talk about the racist Richard Nixon and the stuff that he actually said caught on tape? Really, do we want to have that conversation? Do we want to go back to Woodrow Wilson, who actually showed Birth of a Nation in the White House, who reinstated segregation in the federal workforce? William Monroe Trotter, the great journalist, was thrown out of the White House because he was challenging this racist bigot. We want to talk about Herbert Hoover, the leader of the Lily White faction, the Republican Party. Do we really want to have that conversation, Megyn? Oh, and then she says, Obama is the reason for Trump. Yes, because Trump came in pressing his white rage buttons. And guess what? People like you, Megan, you know, little Miss Blackface, upstate New York, who said, oh, no, remember what you told me off air? Well, you know, it's like where I grew up. I mean, there was no racism because also there were a few black people, Megan. Oh, you remember that conversation we had off air at NBC? The place where you got fired because you sucked. But see, you want to sit here and, it was Obama who injected race. Really? Obama tried to run from the issue of race. Obama tried to be as mainstream, middle of the road as possible. But his mere skin is what drove y'all crazy. Because y'all woke up and said, damn, I'm sorry. Oh, we're now going to have to actually deal with this thing. See, Obama forced y'all because y'all couldn't run around it because, see, y'all couldn't call him the N-word. See, I heard you like, little slick snake. They talk about his suits. Really? Y'all still trip on the tan suit? Is that what we're doing? See, Megan, we see what you're doing. See, I need everybody listening. I need everybody listening. Why is Megyn Kelly blowing up on digital? Because Megyn Kelly is using the same thing that Charlie Kirk did. She's appealing to white nationalists. She's using the language of whiteness. That's what she's doing. I see, but see, she learned it from the best. She learned it from Roger. She learned it from the guy, Roger Ailes, who built Fox News. Roger Ailes' blueprint was to press the issue of race. We all remember Bill O'Reilly attacking Ludacris, attacking Snoop Dogg. It was attacking the new Black Panthers. It was on and on and on. It was always them attacking race. So we see what Megyn is doing. Megyn has shown her white womanness since she got fired from NBC. Since she tried to pull the wool over folks' covers, try to make it seem like she was an objective journalist, that she wasn't really part of that crazy right-wing, white right cabal at Fox News. But no, Megyn, you show us exactly who you are. We know it. You attack Beyonce. You attack nearly all things black. That's what you do, Megyn. We see what you're doing. It's clear. But the thing that drives y'all crazy, y'all hate. So what is it? You hate where Obama went to college. You hate the law school part. You hate that Michelle went to law school. You hate that she's brilliant. You hate that the success. So that's what it is. See, y'all want your Negroes built a certain way. That's what y'all want, Megyn. And we know that. This ain't black folks' first rodeo. See, Obama tried to remove as much of that as possible. Tried to be as palatable to white folks like you as possible. But see, for y'all still want to go back. See, you know you couldn't call him the N-word. But you tried to use every other thing. Oh, he imposed these things on us. Oh, wow. You mean like the Affordable Care Act, which has dramatically increased the number of Americans who now have health care? Really, Megyn? Y'all trashed Michelle Obama for trying to for people to eat healthy. Now y'all praising RFK Jr., you know, Mr. I took heroin in college, I got a worm in my brain. Now y'all praising him, who's really stealing her program of eating healthier. So we see game. Game recognize game, Megyn. And we see who you are. So you can sit here with your little blonde highlights, and you can get all these little white guys all excited who think you're the cutest thing in the world, and you're not. And you're really not. Flat and narrow. That's who you are. And so that's what you do. And so we know what you're doing. See, Megyn, you just hate black brilliance. You just can't stand it. You can't stand that he got reelected. He sat there and beat straight-laced Mormon dude, Mitt Romney. Y'all can't handle that. And it drives y'all crazy. Governor Wes Moore drives y'all crazy. Governor Deval Patrick drives y'all crazy. I was talking to a black conservative over the weekend who told me point blank that y'all hate Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett because she's effective. Oh, yeah. I was told point blank, y'all hate Jasmine Crockett Because she's effective. Y'all hate any black person who doesn't walk around with a stick up their ass, with no bass in their voice, who challenges y'all on your bigotry, on your whiteness. See, y'all didn't even like the fact that the man was a Christian. Y'all called him a Muslim. Yeah, we know what's his name, little Graham boy, the fake preacher. His daddy was a preacher, but he ain't no preacher. Yeah, we know that. And then we know Trump ain't no real Christian. That boy can't even hold the Bible right. But y'all just simply cannot stand black excellence. But y'all love them Stephen from Django Negroes like Jason Whitlock. Y'all love them. But what you can't stand, Megan, is that he won twice. He beat y'all. And you're right. We do have Trump because of Obama. Because y'all was so mad. Y'all was so mad at what happened. And here's what we also know, Megan, and it's a fact. In the history of America, black success has been always followed by white backlash. And Donald Trump, he is the white backlash. And what drives y'all crazy is black success. So, Megan, I'm going to tell you, I told Richard Spencer when I obliterated him on my TV One show, Megan, you better go work out. You better go pump some iron. You better go do some glute exercises. Because, Megan, we ain't going nowhere. We're not leaving. See, y'all can't do what the abolitionists and the plantation folk did to the folk in Virginia and North Carolina when they shipped them to Liberia. We ain't going nowhere, Megan. We're going to be right here. We're going to be right here on digital media. And when they try to get rid of us in mainstream, we're going to set some other stuff up, Megan. Our businesses are not going anywhere. Our politicians are not going anywhere. Megan, we know y'all trying to defund Black America. We know y'all trying to destroy black institutions, destroy black nonprofits. Y'all trying to destroy the will of our people. But like my girl Lorraine Toussaint told Carmen Ejogo and Selma, we are prepared for this, Megan. The ancestors run through our veins. They prepared us for this. Megan, you ain't no different than all the folk we saw after slavery, doing Reconstruction, during the 92 years of Jim Crow. Megan, you not new. You simply are the latest white woman who can't stand black excellence. Renita, you first.
Listen, before I give my comments, I got to say this. Roland, you are crazy because I have never heard anybody say that a person could not even hold the Bible right. I wish you had a Bible so you could show us how to hold it wrong. But that was cracking me up. No, listen, Megyn Kelly is disgusting. And you know what? I specifically hate when white folks talk about how the country is so divided now and how there is so much division. Because what I hear is that you've never listened to the voices of black people or anybody who was not white. There is no universe that you are going to kidnap an entire race of people, bring them from one continent to the United States, and you don't think there's going to be division? There has been division the entire time that this country has existed. And so to me, these people who, wax poetically about, all the division just popped up out of nowhere. It just came about in the last, ever since Obama, is like, these are the people who, number one, are mad that now there are platforms like this where you can actually hear what black folks think about a lot of these issues. They are mad that black people's voices are more now louder than ever, and you can actually hear what different communities are saying. That's what these people are mad about. So yeah, they wanted to go back to a time of where we didn't have the platforms to be able to say how we felt about what was going on in the world, and things were largely silent because that is what for them made them feel like, oh, well, there's not a lot of division in the country. But that was completely false. And so everything that you said about her is is completely true, even down to the fact of how they are the ones who have used race in politics at an expert level and well before anybody else. Think back to George Wallace in the 60s. He ran an entire presidential campaign on segregationist policies. And they chalked it up to, oh, he's just speaking for, low-income workers. I mean, they have had all these fancy ways to just run completely racist campaigns and interject race into politics. Right around the time the Republicans started to lose elections was right at the time where lots of their expert thinkers decided, you know what, we really need to just start using race at the forefront to be able to coalesce our folks together and start winning elections. And it has worked. So she has some gall to bring up anything that President Obama did.
Congo?
Look, when it comes down to it, they are quick to blame a black woman and Barack Obama, right? In conversations about violence, they're still bringing up Maxine Waters and her saying confront people. They're still bringing up Michelle Obama and her arms and her being divisive. And they're jealous at Ketanji Brown Jackson. And they're jealous, when it comes to the brothers, Obama is number one for them. He is their number one target. He'll be their number one go-to. I mean, this man hasn't been president in so long, but these guys, just like Trump, they cannot operate without a target. They cannot operate with giving you somebody to distract from what they're actually doing or what they're actually saying. And Megyn Kelly demonstrated that perfectly. It's almost as if it's probably as if they want violence to come towards him as well. As long as they can keep pointing a finger away from Trump and his ridiculous policy. Hey, by the way, the economy is still in the shambles if people haven't noticed with all of this other talk on everything else. Hey, the Epstein file still ain't out. Well, let's just blame Obama. This is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to continue to keep doing. Look at what they're doing with Lisa Cook. Letitia James, they continually find black women and now Obama to continue to point the finger at, and it is not going to stop. And we got to continue to call it out and shut it down and expose them for who they are. This is racism playing out. There are other Democratic presidents that they can point to. They can point to Clinton. They can talk about other people, but to sit there and to call this man a snake on top of that, I mean, seriously? Like, we're not just going to sit here and act like this is not a real thing. You want to talk about we were fine till y'all came along because a black man dared to challenge after Reverend Jesse Jackson did, right? And Al Sharpton as well, to be the highest offices in the land, and y'all just can't stand that? Nah, we can't stand the ignorance. We can't stand the hate, and we're not going to tolerate it, Megyn. So just as you put it out there, we're going to put this out there in the algorithms as well to let y'all know that your hate and racism, it ain't flying this time around.
Scott, take us home.
Skin.
Scott?
Hello? Yeah, me? What is it about the melanin in my skin that drives white folks crazy? It makes no sense. It makes no from a dignity and a human condition. And yet, if you look at Megyn Kelly, she has downright hatred for Barack Obama. White conservatives always attack the person, not the ideas. And so she attacks him as being this slick snake. And she's dripping with venom when she says it. She looks down as if she's thinking through it. And that his suits, and he was this, he was that. But what's racially divisive about Barack Obama is his mere presence, the color of his skin. And he doesn't drive that narrative. White privilege and white racism drives it. He's racially divisive to white America or white conservatives because of the color of his skin, period. Doesn't matter, the color of his skin, that's it. He's racially divisive. And by the way, the fact that he did not have a 8-year term with scandal, not one scandal, not one investigation. He's a Harvard-trained lawyer. I mean, you would think that those would all be acceptable to white America and white conservatives, right? That they would rally and support him and how far America has come in race relations. And yet, it's just the opposite. Their privilege and racism overwhelms them. And so they project, right? Barack Obama, in their mind, was racially divisive. But Donald Trump's the most racially divisive president we've ever had. If you look at his record, what he said and what he's done, minimally racially insensitive, maximum racial hatred and manifestation. If you read the white nationalist and Ku Klux Klan manifestos, his language mimics what's in the manifestos. And we tolerate it, the media tolerates it, white America tolerates it, because that in the end, I don't care how liberal you are as a white person or how conservative, this white nationalism piece, this gene is inside of you. And that's how it manifests itself. DEI, right? Did you see how the law firms and corporations ran from DEI after the executive order? They couldn't wait to get off the train. Oh, we don't have to do this anymore. He's there. Trump's their savior in this. It wasn't working anyway. It's only got the numbers haven't changed in 40 or 50 years, so they never wanted to do it anyway. And so these are our realities. And by the way, lastly, you can tell them the truth, but they won't accept it because they create their own narrative or truth. They do. So no matter, you can't give an intelligent answer to them because they won't accept it, because they accept lies and their own representations to live in the space that they're in so that they don't have to accept racial equality.
Well, bottom line is, Megan, we don't give a damn what you think. We don't give a damn. So we don't care. You can be in your little feelings, and we don't care. We really don't. And I'll tell you right now, we've been here. We've been fighting you fools like you ever since, and we're going to keep fighting. Y'all can't break us down, because you know what, Megan? Not only did we build this, meaning this country, we're also built for this, because y'all could not have endured what we have endured since 1619 and still be standing. Love you, Megan. Be well. Scott, Renita, Omekongo, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, I'm here in Rhode Island, the Jeffrey Osborne Celebrity Golf Classic. Of course, the welcome part is going on as we speak, literally right there. We're going to have some great stuff for you. Man, wait till I show y'all. We finished playing golf today, little practice round, and Chris Tucker and Johnny Gill with his group together. And so they were doing a sound check, and then the band was playing My, My, My. And wait till I show y'all Chris Tucker and Johnny Gill singing My, My, My as a duet. Y'all, it's hilarious. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff for y'all tomorrow. We appreciate y'all watching the show. Thanks for all the support. I got to go to work. We got a live auction going on. So, folks, thank you very much. Support the work that we do here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. Support our Bring the Funk fan club. You can join right now. Use the Stripe QR code for Cash App. You see it right there on the screen, bottom left. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, checks and money order. Make them out to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Of course, download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available bookstores nationwide. Be sure to, of course, support further getting our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network swag. You can get that by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com, including our shirt, Black-Owned Media Matters. And so get that shirt as well. And so we appreciate that. If you want to support our Black-owned businesses, please do so. Support them by going to our marketplace at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Give me a shot of the products in the studio, please. So we got these products that are right there on my D. You see all the backpacks, candles, skincare equipment, HBCU shirts, all sorts of products. Folks, you can get them. These are Black-owned companies. You can support them right there by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. Also, support the app Fanbase. Download that app. If you want to invest in Fanbase, simply go to startengine.com/Fanbase. Startengine.com/Fanbase. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Black owned, unapologetic, and that's the way we roll. Holla!